We talking the San Antonio Spurs and the 12th pick. What in the world was that?
12 with all the people on the roster. What is happening here? I think what I think happened. I think Greg Popovich is in Tokyo right now, and he got the time zones wrong, and he thinks that they are actually picking with the 12th pick in the second round.
And the front office knew that we needed a power forward or center, like a defensive power forward or center, or a scoring power forward or center, because we have so many guards that it's not going to have a lot of opportunities.
Joshua Primo, a player that was expected to be drafted at 28, barely making it into the first round, was drafted at 12, a lottery position. This, of course, caused a lot of reactions, especially from the Spurs fans, being that he was yet another guard added to the San Antonio ensemble. Even I was guilty.
Fucking guard! God damn it!
But after reviewing his stats, highlights, and play style, Joshua Primo, or as he has been dubbed in San Antonio, Optimus Primo, could save this San Antonio rebuild. Now before I start this video off, I'm not saying the Spurs don't need a big man. In fact, as I record this video, I'm preparing for yet another discussion on that exact same topic. However, Primo is getting massive amounts of undeserved hate simply because, well, he's another guard. But as crazy as it sounds to say, we need another guard.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yes, I know. A Spurs fan saying that the Spurs need another guard instantly makes that Spurs fan sound like he's on the good stuff. Maybe the better way to rephrase it is we need better guards. Let's look at what the Spurs have done in the last couple years. After 2014, the Spurs started to see their team dissolve. Tim Duncan leaving in 2016, Tony Parker leaving in 2018 along with Manu Ginobili, and Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard teaming up in Toronto. Stats began to take a toll. The Spurs went from the number 1 3-point team the year they won the championship to 24th in the 2020 to 2021 season. With this huge drop in shots behind the arc, the San Antonio Spurs also dropped from the 6th highest scoring team in the league to the 20th. On top of all that, it felt like the team was scrambling to find who was their first option, second option, or any other role on the team. This caused the Spurs to frantically fill their roster with guards they thought could step up. Unfortunately, none of these guards are easy to point out as the leader. And as more and more people make jokes of San Antonio drafting players headed to Austin, it's sad to say that our roster already looks like Austin 2.0. Players like Lonnie Walker and Derek White have already hopped back and forth like a game of hot potato. But then a kid playing in Alabama started to catch San Antonio's magnifying glass, equipped with something all scouts love to see. While Joshua Primo played in Alabama, he had a 38 3-point percentage. For reference, that's around the same as Patrick Beverley and D'Angelo Russell. Now then again, that's his college stats, so they are subject to dip or rise as time goes on. But his ability to space the floor and shoot beyond the arc is an ability that the Spurs desperately need. Now Joshua Primo is the youngest prospect in the 2020 draft. This has its pros and cons. He obviously needs more time to develop and gain muscle, but a young player that can stay a few years is better than a vet that will leave the first chance he gets after only one season. Especially because Primo said he wants to be a Spur, which is something you don't see that often. His youth and skinniness allows him to be easily contested by taller or stronger players. It also makes it more difficult for him to finish in crowded situations. However, that doesn't stop him from trying. While he does have these weaknesses, he's 18. He's nowhere near his peak yet. Aside from his shooting, Primo has one word that makes him great: effort. In these highlights, you can see Primo attempting to crash the offensive and defensive glass as a guard and getting steals to give his team more possessions. He doesn't shoot and stand behind to transition to defense. If he sees a shot is short, he instantly starts running to the rim to get it back. As the league continues to move in a more offensive game ignoring defense, it's also important to have players that push the pace. Primo works perfectly in Pop's system of basketball and is great at pushing the tempo. However, once again, his effort is shown on defense as he uses his combination of length and lateral quickness in order to contest pull-up mid-ranges and threes. In my honest opinion, too many Spurs fans are in a win-now mentality. The Spurs lately seem like they can't choose between their future or their present. But the Spurs finally seem to commit to their future. Along with players like Doug McDermott with a career 40% three, and Jock Landale, a great big man averaging 19 points and 10 rebounds, the Spurs are officially rebuilding, and this is a great step in the right direction. To summarize these takes, I ask former Nathan Budnet co-host Fernando to read this script to the video and give his thoughts, to which he said this, quote, "Look, I sorta like the Primo pick. I think the guy's a solid-ass shot creator. There's upside in his defensive potential and the fact that he has such a good motor. You see it in his film. The guy plays with heart. He's got a little CJ McCollum / Pat Bev in him. But the guy needs to put on weight. He has the age thing going for him, but he won't reach his ceiling if he doesn't put on weight. He has solid second option potential or a great ass third option, but like CJ, he needs that next guy like a Dame to truly compete. The fit with the Spurs is nice, but they won't compete until they get their big man of the future. But when they do, Primo is going to feed his team and raise their potential." End quote. The only downside to Primo is that he plays the 2 and not the 1. This makes Primo fall into more of a CJ McCollum role as we just discussed. But with the right teammates by his side, the Spurs could be well on their way to the top again. With a center like Holmgren and a point guard like Ty Washington, the Spurs have a big 3 similar to the one they had before. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.